I've had loads of communication from people saying he's ruining it because it's all about him. And I don't think it was the most appropriate time to talk about how he was, because these poor people would come back with, you know, their limbs torn to pieces and terrible mental health issues, and they had no one. There were pictures of them living in a bedroom with nothing except a bed. And there's Harry with his 16 bathrooms, sort of swanning about how difficult it was. He told lots of lies. In my biography, he told me loads of things about how the people looked after him. William, his father, he had two sort of nanny friend types, one male, one female. He had protection officers. He had all sorts of people looking after him and boosted him and really cared for him. He wasn't allowed to do anything dangerous either because he had about 8 of them around him all the time. Well, so he's actually talking about nonsense.
Prince Harry's Netflix spectacle was supposed to highlight the resilience of wounded veterans, a cause that should have been above personal grievances and self-pity. But somehow, he made it all about himself. According to Angela Levin, Harry's latest production is less of a tribute to real sacrifice and more of an endless monologue about his own so-called struggles. And honestly, she's right. Let's get one thing straight. The veterans in this documentary are the ones who have actually endured hardship. These are men and women who have lost limbs, suffered life-altering injuries, and had to rebuild their lives from nothing. And yet, rather than letting their stories take center stage, we are subjected to yet another episode of Prince Harry's unbearable existence. From the luxury of his Montecito mansion, no less. Angela Levin calls it out perfectly. How can someone who lives in a sprawling estate with 16 bathrooms claim to be suffering, while standing next to people who have lost everything? This isn't just tone-deaf. It's insulting. Veterans don't need a pampered prince hijacking their experiences to sell his brand of perpetual victimhood. They need real action, real advocacy, and real respect. And then there's the childhood sob story, because of course, no Harry production would be complete without another chapter of "My family was terrible to me." Levin lays it out plainly. This idea that Harry was abandoned, ignored, or mistreated is complete fiction. He had constant protection, a network of caregivers, and every opportunity at his feet. Yet here he is, rewriting history again, hoping that the audience forgets the reality of his privileged upbringing. But this is what Harry and Meghan do best: revisionist storytelling. They take carefully selected pieces of the past, strip them of context, add dramatic music, and repackage them as tales of unbearable hardship. And why? Because victimhood sells. The problem is, people are catching on. The Netflix deal? Floundering. The Spotify contract? Terminated. The public? Losing interest. The constant recycling of grievances isn't working anymore. And even sympathetic audiences are growing tired of the never-ending pity tour. Meanwhile, the real monarchy moves forward. While King Charles and Prince William are out there actually leading, Harry and Meghan are still stuck in the past, replaying their grievances for anyone willing to pay for them. At this point, Harry and Meghan's brand is less about meaningful work and more about performance. They don't serve causes, they use them. And Angela Levin's assessment of Harry's latest self-indulgence? Spot on. If Prince Harry truly wanted to honor veterans, he wouldn't make their pain a backdrop for his latest therapy session. But hey, why let real sacrifice get in the way of a good Netflix deal?